Welcome to Three and a Half Gentlemen, the podcast, where three of the four hosts provide a refined and intellectual analysis of movies from our private collections, while one of us tries desperately to keep up. We'll let you decide which host is which, but for now, my name is Sean, and with me, as always, are my fellow English nannies, Jeremiah.
Matchmaker.
No, I was.
What's up, yo?
Eddie.
Look, Natty, that's called liposuction.
Carpe diem, seize the teeth.
I was surprised no one said, hello there.
Hello. All right, Jeremiah.
Yo, as with every review, we give our goals to answer one simple question: how many drinks does it take to get through the film that we just watched? Now, at the end of the podcast, we'll rate the film based on a scale of 0 to 5, with 0 being a perfect film that you could watch stone cold sober, and 5 being sort of the film that makes you feel like you're choking on peppered jambalaya. Or you can also get hit by a rum by fruity.
That would have been good.
Why you'd order jambalaya if you're allergic to pepper?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm sure listeners that you have figured out by now what we're doing, but tonight we're reviewing a classic, and that's going to be 1993's Mrs. Doubtfire. Now, this movie follows Daniel Hillard, or if you're Pierce Brosnan, Daniel Hillard, after his divorce from his wife, Miranda. To be able to see his 3 children every day, Daniel dresses as a 60-plus-year-old female babysitter, tricking everyone around him. Directed by Chris Columbus, which was a shock when I saw his name up there, and starring Robin Williams, Sally Field, and Pierce Brosnan, Mrs. Doubtfire has an IMDb rating of 7.1 out of 10 and has a Rotten Tomatoes score of 71% with the critics and an audience score of 77%. There you have it.
For tonight, we're drinking Scotch on the Rocks, the drink of choice that gets Daniel in very much big trouble at Bridges restaurant. Double Scotch on the Rocks. Well, the ingredients and description can be found on our Instagram page, where you can also find other fun facts, images, trailers, and clips from our podcasts. Guys, Scotch, 2, double on the Rocks. You
Down into my belly.
sly dog.
Scallywag.
Bully.
Gentlemen, star engines.
Kind of like thought about, man, this kind of reminds me of Sean here. Like if we're in a business trip, he's like, you know what?
He dived right into it.
I ordered you another one.
Just
here.
Make
You
it
get
2
2 on double
actually.
to catch you up.
Well, let's talk about the brilliance that is Robin Williams and the absolute heart-wrenching movie that this actually is.
Now, I want to start out and ask you guys a question. How long has it been since you've seen this movie?
Okay, so I'll go first. I thought that I had seen this recently. I have not, because I did not remember any of it. And me and my mom actually watched it together, and she hadn't seen it probably in 20 years, and I haven't seen it in at least 10 years. And so I remember some quotes from it. I remember the run by fruiting. I remember Pierce Brosnan choking on the shrimp, but I don't remember like the family drama aspect of it, like the divorce aspect of it, as much as kind of when I watched it this time.
7, 8, no, 10 years ago. Life has changed since 10 years ago, man. When I was rewatching this movie, it really fucking choked me up. I didn't expect to get all emotional during this fucking movie. I mean, it's just, I guess being an adult and being a parent, you just see things from a different point of view now, and you're just like, holy shit. You get a different perspective of this movie, and dude, it's not the same movie that I remember where it was just like, oh my god, this is so funny. I can't wait for this part. No, it's pretty hardcore, dude.
It was before Selena. Definitely way before Selena. Because I had this movie on, and Selena didn't need to say anything. She was just like, oh, I remember this movie. And this was like a funny movie. And she sat down, and we were turning around at each other like the whole movie, like, oh wow, like this is hitting different. Like this is really emotional for us. And this is, and she's just like, oh, I at points she's like, sometimes you do that, Eddie. You know how Robin Williams is like, look at her. But definitely 2000
into this movie. We're not doing that.
yeah. And I just always had it in my bag of comedy movies, and just never went back to it. And it definitely is a different movie.
Yeah, I'm gonna say 20 plus years for me also. You know, what's funny, this is definitely before Amanda too, because you know, when we started dating, Amanda she knew that I loved movies, and that I was always trying to throw movies and be like, hey, we should watch this movie, you should watch this movie, you should try it. And she, for whatever reason, doesn't have like amnesia, but she developed amnesia around one movie, because she asked genuinely every time movies would come up, she'd be like, hey, have you ever seen Mrs. Doubtfire? I was like, yes, of course I've seen Mrs. Doubtfire. I love Mrs. Doubtfire. It's so much fun. It's a funny movie. And so, I mean, this happened probably over 10 years. And then it took 10 years for her to realize that, yes, I had seen Mrs. Doubtfire, but we'd never seen it together. So when we decided to watch this was a pretty amazing moment. And I was telling her, I was like, I don't think we should watch this one necessarily with the kids. And she's like, no, it's a fun one. It's so much fun. They're going to love it. And we get in, and Eddie, it sounds similar. Like we're watching with the kids. And I would say every 42 seconds, like we're looking over at each other like, holy shit, what do we do? Like, then I had to hit the pause button and try to explain like divorce, and I had to go through all this stuff, and it's tough. It's tough. So yeah, 20 plus years for me.
I think what the movie does beautifully is it explores this idea of the children feeling like they're at fault, but then being absolved of that fault by the parents. But it's always the same idea. Like Matthew, or not one of the Lawrence brothers, it's the middle Lawrence brother.
I think
Yeah, it's
Matthew
Matthew.
Lawrence.
Matthew Lawrence. Matthew, he said at one point, I wish I had never had a birthday. And it's like, and Ramon goes, no, this was a mistake waiting to happen. Had nothing to do with you. It has nothing to do with you. But I think that no matter what, you have this underlying feeling that kids feel responsible. Even just in the slightest, they feel responsible. And that is just such a tragic thing to deal with.
Right?
It's just so fucking sad.
You know what's funny, Sean? Because that scene of the birthday party, my kids, all of them were watching it with Celine and I, and they were like hopping around like this is like a fun party. This is like cool. And during that, jump, and during that whole time, Celine and I,
It was everlasting.
yeah,
I'm sorry.
Celine and I were just like, oh, he's not getting in trouble. Like he definitely.
When you're a kid, you don't think he should be.
Did something he was not supposed to.
But there's one kid swinging literally from the chandelier.
The house is a mess. I don't remember the mess being that bad.
No, I mean, so
Yeah, I mean, they brought the San Diego Zoo.
no,
to the house.
Amanda.
I'm like, ooh, you're
Amanda had a good
just
point,
out.
which was she's not one to be critical about movies. She lets me be critical about movies, but she looks at it and she goes, "A petting zoo for a 12th birthday." And so we asked Sawyer, who's he's 11 or he's 10, turning 11, and we're like, "Would you want a petting zoo brought to your house?" And he's like, "No." So that would be my one thing of it stretches the truth. However, I would love that.
And this is the house is beautiful. She's an interior designer. She's very, I at the very beginning of the movie, I felt for Miranda because I felt like she's trying to keep a house together. She's trying to keep kids.
She's the parent
on a schedule, and he is just constantly uprooting and destroying the flow of the family. And I can understand that completely. What animosity can grow between them.
Yes.
And once again, I think this movie does something beautiful. Is it says that just because two people love each other and just because they love their kids doesn't mean that they should be together. And if they can co-op together, they cooperate. I think, it just sends a good message. I don't think you get that message anymore in movies. Like you don't have these feel good stories. Not that this is that feel good.
Listen, I mean, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but they don't make movies like this.
They don't.
They don't make movies like this. I mean, for this, I mean, it was like a message for all divorced children for this movie all over the world. Like, it's not your fault. Don't blame yourself. And that was the message out of this movie. I thought here that it was really, I don't know, it's just like, wow, I didn't catch on to that when I was little and shit, But in a sense, you get an idea that even though that there was like this first fight, you knew that this was the final straw. That was the final straw that broke the camel's back between these two people here, Even though that you don't have any too much. I mean, he does voice acting, He's doing this, but he quits his job, or he decides to walk away from his job. You get the sense like there's something was gonna happen, and that was the final straw.
No, for me, I like.
And this is a perfect.
I was just gonna say, for me, for the first half of the movie, first quarter of the movie, I'm sitting there and I'm like, you know what? I really don't think they painted Miranda as a good character in the first quarter. And then about 3/4 of the way in, or a quarter of the way into half of the way in, I realized that she is such a genuine and great character. Like she genuinely is a caring mom. She is a caring partner to him in the sense that she realizes that it can't work and it can't continue to work. And so I realized that I had my biases probably from when I was a kid, who was always on Daniel's side and never on her side. But seeing it as an adult, you're like, you know what? There are problems here. And I was just going to say this, that to me, this movie and its representation of divorce did that better than A Marriage Story with Adam Driver on it, which was, basically was it Scarlett Johansson, which,
Yeah.
was supposed to be this really realistic depiction of marriage and divorce. And that, I thought, you know what? That was so melodramatic. This has more realism to its central instigating, event that I don't think that you were talking about. They don't make movies like this anymore, but they don't make movies that capture the quality of good and bad in people at the same time. And I just think this is a special
Yeah.
movie.
I think that the screenplay should be studied because this, if you actually look at the subtext of the screenplay, you know everything you need to know about Robin Williams in the first 5 minutes of the movie. He has principles. He is a very talented actor, and then all of a sudden, he is a fun parent and has this ball busting party or this great party, and then all of a sudden you get this idea that he kind of doesn't have any tethers. He's a free spirit. He's very talented, but he's perhaps a little undirectioned, or it doesn't have a lot of direction. And then you have Miranda, who's completely rigid and has this direction. And all of this comes out in the script in the first 10 minutes of the movie, and you get this perfectly clear picture of what these two characters represent, and then you watch both of them completely change.
I mean, ballsy movie too. Like for this to go this 1993, I was thinking about this. It's like, bro, this is it still hits pretty legit. And I like the idea where it shows with Robin Williams, where he gets the first time visitation rights, right, every Saturday, and he's still trying to find his roots in this apartment, and it's a mess, and they're having Chinese food, and she drops him off late, and then she also picks him up early, and you just see this battle, right, still, and it's just like she's still trying to adapt, and he's obviously been uprooted and moved out of his house it shows the idea. I think Brandon was saying it, but this movie shows divorce in a real way, that it definitely hits hard for the kids. So the kids are just sitting there, and every scene that they're fighting, you see the kids in the background just sitting there, and it's gut wrenching.
It's heavy for the kids. I mean, you see it through their point of view. Mommy's singing this or daddy's doing this. It's heartbreaking to see that they're not ever going to be together, or they're not going to be together. But the kids, there's something special about this movie where you can see the point of view of everything happening through the kids' eyes, and I don't think they do movies like that where it's like it's focusing on, well, let's make sure at the end we may not be working too well together, but we love our children. We need to make sure that we're there for our children, if we're going to be there or not be there. And that message in the end of the movie, which we'll go into it later on, but the message in the end of the movie where Mrs. Doubtfire explains to
It's just beautiful.
It's like the most heartbreaking message, and I think it was just a message to all the kids that that go through divorces, like they're part of that situation, man.
He's getting information from a third party source, but actually as the person who is responsible. And I think that you said, I don't like the person I was. Miranda says, I don't like the person I was when I'm with him. And I thought the better part of that conversation, not better, but the more poignant part was that she cried herself to sleep. And the look on Mrs. Doubtfire's face it's almost like Robin Williams comes through there's a couple of scenes where he comes through Mrs. Doubtfire. One of the things that I think is very dangerous about masks in movies, or makeup, heavy makeup, and like Nosferatu we watched, and there's been some great makeup movies, but it hides the performance sometimes. And I feel like the opposite happened in this movie. The makeup allowed Robin Williams to have a mask of emotions as he was trying to probe into what was the reason for his marriage to fall apart. Because I think he was blindsided in a lot of ways by Miranda just saying, I want a divorce. He realizes that it's not just her, it's him. He's causing the pain, he's causing the problem, and then she's reacting to the pain or the problem in a way that he doesn't expect. I think that whole dichotomy is just beautiful. And like you said, there's moments in film, across genres, across movies, that are written well, performed well, and they stand out. This is one of those great movie moments especially with the idea that he is a third-party source gathering information as a first-party source.
That's the person that you were there the whole time. You knew what to do. You could have been this guy
You could have done
long
it.
ago.
Yeah.
You could have done it, and he realizes this as he's like, "Fuck yeah, I definitely screwed the pooch with this one." But that conversation, sorry, Jeremiah, that conversation of him asking also Miranda, "Well, did you ask? Did you ever tell your husband this feeling?" And she's like, "You never. He never wanted to. He wanted to pretend that it was always. He didn't want to talk about these hard things, and always it was always good, always fun."
I think what's really cool about this is that Mrs. Doubtfire made them a better person and then just be kind and an understanding about how to actually approach things in a different way. I love that scene when Robert Williams, I'm sorry, Mrs. Doubtfire, rather than actually, talking down the other person in front of your children, maybe you shouldn't do that in front of the kids. These kids are somewhat are going to be affected by this whole situation. Little scenes like that, you're just like, fuck, those things really hit you pretty hard.
And I would love to see the original script to see how much Robin Williams went off. Because if you listen to a lot of what Mrs. Doubtfire says, it's fucking hysterical when they're picking out the dress, or when they're standing at the how long after Mr. Doubtfire died did you you've been put away, I never you celibacy for the rest of your life. And it's like it's so funny because it's Robin, but it's also Miss Doubtfire, and her advice is really good all the time. One of my favorites when they're picking out the dress. And then as she's walking away, she says, "Well, you asked my opinion, you don't take it. I don't understand." I wonder how much of that shit was just ad lib or just added by.
There's like word around the campfire is that there's boxes of unused footage that they filmed so much that that they had to cut this film so much during this editing and everything like that. It's just he improvised. I mean, the hello thing, that's part of pop culture, right? I mean, I guarantee he improvised that hello. Like, hello. How many times did you guys do that when you were little? When you put fucking cream in your face and you walked around and just do Mrs. Doubtfire like hello? I mean, fuck, we did that so many times. Shit, dude.
Just the scenes at dinner when he's sitting next to Pierce Brosnan, which was such an interesting choice, right? To put Mrs. Doubtfire next to the man who's taking over his life. Yeah. If you listen to the banter that he has with Pierce Brosnan, the whole movie, he is running Pierce Brosnan down every chance he gets.
The pool scenes.
He loses his teeth and he goes, "Carpe, what is it? No, what is it?
Carpe
dentum.
Carpe dentum.
Which
sees the teeth.
That,
as an adult, I got the
improvised.
joke. As a kid,
he improvised that. He improvised that fucking scene.
I still, whenever something gets wet or something falls in the sink or whatever, I cannot not say, "Shake it off like a dog."
I heard that Pierce Brosnan had such a hard time keeping a straight face that he had lines during that, and he was just like, "No, I'm just gonna sit here," because he could. Every time he opened his mouth, you see it in the movie. Because she's walking away and she says, "Have them puree the salmon, dear," because of her teeth. And he goes, "Puree the salmon?" And then he gets it. Like he didn't quite understand what he was trying to say.
I mean, so you got the sign, the lines with the hello, and for me, the shake it off like a dog. Another one that I swear to God, I mean, I still have as one of my go-to lines is stew. It's more of a thick soup than a name. Like to me, that there's such brilliance in the I guess the subtextual banter. Like it's not in our face, it's not explicit, it's just there. And if you're not watching it as an adult especially, you're not getting any of these jokes. And I swear to God, seeing it again as an adult made you appreciate just how absolutely classic Robin Williams was. And I've seen plenty of movies since he passed that with him in it that make me sad. This was the first time that I really got angry, and I was like, we lost somebody so fucking perfect, spectacular, and amazing.
I would love to see the outtakes when he's with the social worker and he is doing all of his impressions, and he ends with, "I can do a great impression of a hot dog," and then she asks, "Are you an amusing man, Mr. Hillard?" And he goes, "Until now. I thought I was. I thought I was until this moment of my life." But I would love to.
Thank
I'm
you.
sure he did. I'm sure he did 1,000 impressions of different people. And
So I have a question then. So not favorite scene that's emotional, favorite comedic scene, favorite funny scene with Mrs. Doubtfire. I think my favorite scene is probably the drama, but arguably, what's your favorite comedic scene in this movie?
I think Sean, I'm thinking you and I might be on the same. But to me, it's when he goes to the pool and he's sitting there at the bar, and the run by fruiting. I mean, that's just it's stupid. It's brilliant. I remember when I first saw it as a kid, I didn't get it, and my parents were like tiptoeing around, being like, "Well, there's things called drive by shootings, where people just drive by and shoot people." I'm 8 years old when my parents are trying to tell me this, and like even when they told me, I didn't get it. Like I just didn't get it until probably another 5 or 6 years after that, and I'm watching. I'm going, oh, I get it now.
For me, I have two that stand out. The first is the compilation of when he's calling Miranda as housekeepers. Are your kids well behaved, or do they need a good thrashing here and there? And it's just like he goes through all of these different, and she's just getting more and more frustrated. And I think that's just vintage Robin Williams, right? I mean, and I'm like, well, this movie would be ruined by caller AD, but it doesn't matter. I think arguably the greatest performance of Robin Williams is when he's trying to find his character with his brother. And when he's trying to find Mrs. Doubtfire, and he's got those nails, and he goes, maybe this is too much for the children. He's got the red nails and the wig, and then he's Barbara Streisand, and then he's Fiddler on the Roof, and then he's his grandmother, and he keeps going through all these characters. Once again, I think Robin Williams is probably one of the greatest comedic actors of all time. I definitely top 5 for me. So this was his vessel.
Well,
Jeremiah.
Sean took mine. I think when he's finding Mrs. Doubtfire, I mean, that's what happens when you take 3 or 4. That was my favorite moment. I mean, I can watch that forever, watching Robin and Harvey. I'm surprised they didn't do another movie. I mean, they had great chemistry, and I think they were fucking brilliant, and that's one of my favorite parts. So for
me, I'm going to go with Brandon, close to Brandon's pick. It's the moment you step into the pool. You just see nothing but shots fired towards Pierce of like, look at this place. It was nonstop. And then even when he's on this diving board, the liposuction, and then when he walks up close, and then like, oh, it's a little bit cold out here, I see, huh? And just everything, and it was hilarious. And then as they're walking by, as they're leaving the pool, he's just like, there you go, motherfucker, just taking my fucking family right in front of me. What the fuck am I doing? That whole pool scene was
I love when he breaks off the hood ornament, too. And he's
Yeah.
like, oh, I found this. Is this yours? And he says, oh, somebody who drives a car like that is obviously compensating. And you could just see, and I don't know if this was scripted or not, but you could see Pierce Brosnan as Stu just so unbelievably uncomfortable because he's just getting lambasted by this 70-year-old lady.
Chris Columbus is smart. He didn't give Pierce Brosnan the script. Like that, here's your lines, Pierce. This is all you got, and you just need to react to Rob. Because honestly, the reactions to Mrs. Doubtfire are the best part. Like when she's on the bus with the bus driver, and the bus driver's hitting on her, and you see his hairy leg, and Miss Doubtfire's hairy leg.
I like
and
that.
I like a natural woman.
I think one of the best parts of the movie is when he first cooks the first dinner for the family, and then he actually buys the food and he serves it up, and it's so fun because it's really magical. I think where the kids are like, oh my
faces.
God, who's Mrs. Doubtfire? And then even the wife, Miranda, Sally Field is just like, oh my God, this is the most gorgeous thing in the world. And there's a lot of magic in this movie, and that's what you get out of Robin Williams in this great movie here.
I bet there's 20 minutes of him taking that lobster out of the pot and putting it on the dish, because the one that ends up in the movie is Richard Nixon. And he's, I am not a crook. I'm watching the movie like, well, if you let him cook, man, this guy is just brilliant. Another scene that I wanted to bring up was when Pierce is choking after he put the paprika on his jambalaya, or whatever it was.
I don't want to kill the damn guy.
It was on the way, dear. I've used that quote 1,000 times. Like that's a staple of our family. I find myself quoting this movie more than probably. I would say more than any other movie.
That dinner scene though, with the scotch, and he's like, he got the dates on the same damn day, and he's like, he realizes it when Miranda's saying, "Oh, you have to come with us," and he's like, it's bingo night. I can't. It's my turn to do the balls or something. And, bro, how just say no, and then you would just be in the clear. But I mean, that whole dinner scene, I remember him going back and forth was just hilarious, and having perfume on him and lipstick when he's meeting the boss for the second time right after, and then he has to make up this lie of, oh, I found my ex, and is this a new slide dog? Does she have a yeah? Does she have a friend? Does she have a lady friend?
It is the 90s.
Like, Jesus.
I was like, God.
And I love that actor. I don't know if anyone has seen Far and Away, but he played the dad on Far and Away of Nicole Kidman, and he was fabulous. He's a great.
He
actor.
was also on the Great Outdoors. He was the owner of the campsite.
So going back to the dinner scene, though, him jumping between tables, and you even get lost about where he's trying to go, what he's trying to do.
After he took the 2 shots or the 2 scotch drinks or the double, he starts to get drunk more. He's stumbling all over the fucking place, and it's fucking hilarious.
The wine that he's having, yeah. But no, I loved like when he walks into the bar. Like it's such stupid humor, but for whatever reason, seeing him do that and then seeing Mrs. Doubtfire do that and just play the drunk character, it's great. At the same time, though, as an adult, I'm watching it, and it's no longer just such a funny scene because I'm watching this guy's, with the knowledge of what happens, right? But I'm watching this guy's hopes and his dreams, and his solidness as Mrs. Doubtfire just crumbling in his hands. And I got frustrated, Ed. I was feeling the same way. Is that like, just say no to the daughter, right? It was when she said, "Please, Mrs. Doubtfire, you have to come," that he finally relented. If he had just stuck to his guns and just done it, now granted, it wouldn't have been part of the movie. I mean, it needed to happen, but
I get that, but it also reverberated in his character in his final speech in the court, which I thought was a beautiful speech. It's when he says it's like saying I can't have air. He would do anything for his children, especially Natalie, because Nat was just one of those beautiful, wonderful kids that was so innocent and pure, and just a light. Yeah, and once again, that actress, bravo for her, because she was a great child actress. She was one of the greatest child actresses.
He probably should have rescheduled the meeting. I mean, and even.
Well, he tried.
Clip something up.
But do you look at that opportunity in the face and then turn away? Like, I mean.
Yeah,
look what ended up happening.
That's the one you take, right?
Yeah.
You say Mrs. Doubtfire can't do it.
That was a very interesting storyline as well, which was his development into from a film guy to TV. Watching the old Dinosaur Man, and then going and playing with the dinosaurs, and then getting the attention, and kind of like, I think that that mirrors his other growth, right? So he changed so much as a father and as a potential, husband or whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
He changed as a man in the way he dealt with his family, but he also changed his career, and he changed the kind of the way he approached his career. You don't have much character development in movies these days. I know Brandon complains about it all the time. We joke about it, but this is great character development. This is like growing up, learning how to be a stable person, learning how to get a job, learning how to, but still not losing who you are. And I think that balance, was represented beautifully here.
Well, one of my favorite shots, Sean, kind of on that point, is when he's sitting there on his couch, swigging a beer, and he's got his spiral notebook ready, and he's taking notes on how to cook, right? And granted, it's supposed to be kind of this funny scene,
it's Julia
funny shot. It's Julia Child. But it's granted, it's supposed to be funny, but at the same time, this is him going the extra distance, right? This is him learning and becoming something, so that when we see it, 25 minutes later, we see the kids around the house or the apartment, and Miranda comes in and says, "Wow, you really like straightened up." You see that it's not just a facade, right? That he has developed into a better person. And I know we keep saying this, but I don't think that we get this kind of focus on goodness in people, in humanity, like we did back in the 90s. And I know, Jeremiah, you love your 80s movies. I got something for the 90s, man. They just have a focus on goodness of humanity that we just don't see a whole lot. There's no cynicism.
It's a vibe to the movies. It's like it's a perfect blend to it, with just how everything is showcased, and even the music. The music is just so fucking like. I'm not talking about like the songs. I'm talking about the score. I think it was Howard Shore that did the score. It's just so like, oh my god, like it brings you back into that particular time. And fuck, dude.
It reminds me of like Homeward Bound, like Homeward
Oh,
Bound, and
love that movie.
those kind of movies where it was like it was all about hope. It was all about just sorrow and pain, but also
It's
like
part
there's
of it,
hope
yeah.
and there's goodness. And
Yep.
I'm with you, Jeremy. I think the soundtrack and the score were really something special. And Howard Shore is no slouch. I mean, that guy is.
I mean, Lord of the Rings, right?
He's not like Hans Zimmer. I mean, that hack. Right, Jeremiah?
I would say if there is a negative about this film, which I would say does not affect my score, and I'm not even going to consider it a negative because I don't care about it, is the total ignorance or ignoring the idea that he infiltrated their family, lied to them all, created this character, and that's fucking psycho. Like, if you really look at this movie, it's
He says
on
Norman
its
Bates.
face, it's a
Complete-
creepy fucking movie.
completely
It's about a father
just
who
disobeyed the
processes
law.
to get-
Yeah.
yeah. And I'm just not gonna. We're just not gonna talk about it. We're just gonna ignore it. And it's fine. I don't care. I don't need to go into it. But at the same time, I think that the court scene touches on it a little bit at the end when he gives his beautiful speech, and the judge says, "You're clearly a great actor." And and then he goes and attacks him and says, maybe you need counseling, maybe you need rehabilitation, maybe you're dangerous. And I'm like, that's a reasonable approach. But if you look at Miranda Hillard's face, she doesn't believe any of that.
Yeah.
And when
Yeah,
he
no.
gives his speech, she sees the man she married, she sees the father of her children, and that, I think, the fact that she was able to set aside the court and do what was right, that to me makes the movie work. It makes the movie
Yes.
beautiful.
Yeah, so I got a question, and I definitely, when I wrote it down in my notes, I was anti Miranda, and then I developed, like I mentioned before, I developed an absolute understanding of Miranda and appreciation for Miranda. But my question is, obviously, this divorce was a long time in the coming, right? It was going to happen. Do you think that if she hadn't been told by her boss that Stewart, whatever his name is, wanted to talk to her?
Mole.
Martin
Yeah.
Mull, yeah, all I could think of was
Like Martin liked.
I thought-
Miranda.
Dave
Like
Parmesan.
Martin liked Miranda.
Chief Parmesan. But do you think that she would have called for the divorce at that point if he hadn't been brought back into her life?
Bro.
Because to me, it
Dude,
just seems
I
interesting.
I
the
thought
timing.
the same thing. I thought the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's kind of convenient. All of a sudden, like, this guy comes out, and all of
She
a sudden, now
was-
you want to do divorce? I mean,
With this
I
mention.
thought the same thing for a second. Yeah.
I also completely didn't know that they had a past. I feel like that I forgot about that, or it's just like that was like new. It's like, oh, they like knew each other. Like I thought like they're work buddies or something, but they actually knew each other before she dated. She was with Daniel.
I think that she got a glimpse of what her life could be. I think to say that she had planned on dating Stu and perhaps marrying Stu and Stu integrating with the children before she said she wanted a divorce, I don't think that's true. I think that she saw a moment where she was unencumbered by the antics of her current husband and how life could be, and she took that opportunity to make a change. I don't think that it was nefarious. I don't think she was trying to replace Robin with Pierce Brosnan. I don't think that's the case. I think it was more.
Yeah, I think Brandon's probably saying, like, would she make that decision if that situation didn't come about, though?
that day.
I mean, if it wasn't one thing, it was another. Something
true.
would have done it.
Like the petting zoo in the house. In
I mean,
a
it
beautiful
was,
house.
dude. He destroyed the house, and sometimes
Yeah.
I mean, it's the saddest thing, but people change, and it just happens, man. Like people change, and
And it shows you he
people
actually
outgrow each
changed
other.
too. So some people need that to be a better person. You have to have something like this. You have to fall in order to be a better person, right? You have to. So this, even though you think at the time it's the end of your life, it opens up a different door, and you could still co-parent. And you comes down to, you know what, I will do anything for my kids, and that's how can I be the best parent for my kids? And you have to just understand, being Mrs. Doubtfire made him understand, get closer to Miranda than he ever was when he wasn't Mrs. Doubtfire, right? So he needed to get inside Miranda's head and be that realization of, okay, maybe I was fucking up.
And I think that he learned how to be a better version of himself.
Yep. Grew up a little
Also,
bit.
what
Mrs.
I don't
Doubtfire,
like
yeah.
is this idea. What I don't like is this idea that he totally changed, because he didn't. He didn't totally change. He kept what was great about himself. He kept his light and his humor and his love for his children and all that good stuff. But he replaced some of the bad with a more controlled lifestyle.
I think he did change.
Yeah.
I think he understood where Miranda was coming from in the end, and he had an understanding on
Oh,
that
for
part.
sure.
The ending, I think the ending is one of the best endings of just how it just all wrapped up, and you just get this wonderful message. I read something in this movie
voiceover.
that supposedly the original script, Robin and Sally were supposed to get back together in the end, but from my understanding, Robin and
That would be
Sally
bad.
thought the ending should be just left how it is, ambiguous. That don't try to sugarcoat like about divorce or anything like that. That the focus is on the
So,
children.
which ending? The ending where they talk to each other on set, or the ending of Mrs. Doubtfire?
No, like she would have shown like they would have got together in the end, after everything is said and done and shit. That was supposed to be the original script, but the way how we see it in the movie, that's how they went. Like, no, let's keep the ending here. They fought for that ending because they thought like you can't just like pretend like the divorce thing is not going to happen or anything like that. They left it ambiguous, but they really want to focus on like, hey, just because we don't love each other doesn't mean that we don't love our children. And I think that was something that they really wanted to fight for that. And I'm kind of glad that they didn't go the original route, because I don't think you would have got like a beautiful ending like this movie here.
No, and then Mrs. Doubtfire, her voiceover at the end is just it's
fuck,
so
it's
raw and it's
heartbreaking.
real. And I mean, you got to remember too that 93. Yes, people were divorcing, but I mean,
Less people are getting divorced now than they were in 1993, which is shocking.
The 90s, where it was piking.
It was.
Yeah,
it
well, I
kinda
feel like it
peaked.
was
kinda
almost
peaked.
like
This was the peak.
so I feel like it's interesting how they embraced as a movie this concept in a such a straightforward way. It didn't sugarcoat it. It didn't tiptoe around it. It just straight up said, especially at the end, some people who loved each other no longer love each other, but that doesn't affect the way that they feel about their kids. And to leave it with that, because ultimately this movie in Jeremiah, this is why that hypothetical ending is terrible. This movie isn't about their relationship. This movie is about a parent's relationship with his and her children.
So I think it's about the last line in the movie. It's about
Family.
as long as there's love, there's family. That's it. That's it right there. As long as there's love, it doesn't matter what it looks like. There's family, and I think that's the reason why this movie hit so hard for us now at our age, as opposed to when we were 8, is now we can understand and respect that's true. At 8, you don't really get it. Now it's like, fuck, man, it's really true. It's like, I mean, it is what it is. Divorce is hard. It's hard on the kids. It's hard on everybody.
And that, listeners, we have reached the end of review, and it's time for each of the hosts to provide its score. Aunt Jack, I'm so happy for you. Can you please provide your score, please?
0, the perfect movie. You don't need shit to enjoy it. 1, a feel-good first cocktail. 2, a happy buzz. 3, you're in the Uber lifting home. 4, rough morning walk of shame. 5, blackout, shit face. Spring break drunk. Double scotch drunk. Maybe a couple extra. You slide out. I already ordered you another one.
Sean, what you got?
Scallywag.
Just kidding. I was pulling you. We got to write it down.
All right, you guys ready?
All right.
I'm ready.
3, 2, 1.
Well, Jeremiah, you can tell us first what we got.
I can't see Jeremiah's.
I can't see it.
Listen, listeners, I don't know much. I do know the world has been less joyful since Robert Williams has left us. He made this movie everything that you can possibly hope for. There's just a warm vibe to this movie, man. Different movie that I saw when I was little to what I see now. I thought it was supposed to be a funny movie, and I was just fucking just being full of, like, my heart was in my throat during the whole time. And that's just the magical part of this fucking movie here, man. I mean, it spoke to a generation of children of divorces and shit like that, dude, where you're just like, fuck, thank you so much, man. Because you know what? A lot of people didn't understand what was going on. I think it was something that really helped out a lot of people, and I'm beyond grateful with that. This is one of the best movies in the 90s. I just had a little issues with it, kind of being, a product of the 90s, where it's just like, it is what it is on that part. There's some scenes where it have been a little different here and there, but this is a movie that you want to keep and just enjoy it with your family. It's a strong movie, guys. It's a 1.25 for me, man. It's a feel first cocktail with a half a shot, dude. It's 1.25. I really enjoy this movie. It's a different movie than what you're going to see. I promise you that, man.
This movie I think aged perfectly. It shows Robin Williams and how funny this guy really was. You could watch this a couple more times, and you could keep hearing new jokes and over and over and over. And I had to pause it so many different times. It's a movie that Noah ended up watching all with me. Like he didn't move at all, and he actually started clapping afterwards. Like he was very happy with the whole movie. Even though he understood that the parents left each other, but he still understood the message. So there's an age limit there that maybe it does hit. I had a weird time with maybe the ending with Stu and Miranda. I wish this is where I think they cut out scenes with Pierce or lines. Did she end up with this other dude who was kind of a AKA good guy, but I think it's jerk? I don't know what happens. Um, but Mrs. Doubtfire, man, she reminds me of Jeremy and I had a nanny. I don't even know if it's a nanny. It's just a person that we went to at one point. Her name was Joyce, and like sometimes those babysitters or nannies, they're lifelong impacts on us. And I remember she was one of those ones. And for this movie, I think it's better than a shot. So I'll give this a just like Pierce Brosnan, almost coming up to 40. So it's a 0.39. Um,
There you go.
that's my score.
I listen. I popped this movie in, the other day, knowing that in my past 20 plus years ago, I love this movie, and I still have those lines, and I still have those memories of the scenes. This movie hits in a completely different way once you are older, once you have kids. The last scene where little Natty comes and runs and gives him a hug at the very end, like I lost at that point because I realized that that's the moments that you care about, and that's the moments that matter. Sure as an adult, but or sure as a parent, but just as an adult, when you find somebody who just cares about you unconditionally, and kids have a great way of doing that. This movie might have some flaws. I honestly can't think of any. And to me, this is a movie that just it hits on so many different levels, on the humorous level, on the dramatic level, on the just emotional core of it. We didn't even talk about what I think is one of the funniest scenes in the entire movie, and that's when his mask gets run over by the trash truck. Like literally, that's just a classic scene that lives forever, rent free in my brain as just one of the funniest, most perfect scenes in any movie. So I'm not going to belabor the issue. This is a 0. This is a perfect movie. I was not expecting to give this a 0. But you guys actually talked me into it. But it's a 0.
I had a lot of real mixed emotions going into the movie. I remember this as a straight up comedy. I did not remember the deep underpinning emotional trauma of divorce and of the kids and of all. I must have ignored it or whatever. But it was like I was watching the movie for the first time. And when I give a 0 to a movie, and obviously this is a 0 for me, I look at a couple of different things. I look at the acting performances, and I don't think you can argue that Sally Field, who's one of the greatest living actresses of all time,
She's
and
great.
Robin Williams, who is what, like I've already said before, top 5 comedians of all time. These are iconic performances. Um, I don't think necessarily that Mrs. Doubtfire works without Miranda being as steadfast and structured as she is. And Sally Field plays that role to a fucking T. I don't think that this movie works as well without the kids' range of emotions, which I thought all three of the kids had brilliant range as they were reacting to the different things. There's a scene that really put me over the edge, and that's when they're all sitting around at the very end of the movie, and they're talking about how much they miss Mrs. Doubtfire, only to come to the realization that she was never real in the first place. But what they're actually describing is the feeling of a really good cohesive family. They're of everyone working toward the common good, and I think that message compiled with the acting, compiled with the script that I think is unmanageably good. And Robin Williams' performance as Mrs. Doubtfire, it would be hard to find a better mix of comedy and drama and emotion in all of film. Um, that isn't to say that there aren't other movies out there that are better or worse or equivalent. I'm just saying this one is a shining star. Anyway, I give this a 0. I'm not going to keep going. I think we lost just an absolute treasure in Ron Williams. I don't think anybody can argue that. And I would have loved to see him age and get more and more funny with time.
Right.
But we got what we were meant to get with him, and you have outstanding performances like this that make it all worth it. So I give it a 0. Eddie, when you take all those 4 scores and divide it by 4, what does Mrs. Doubtfire get an average rating of?
It gives us a 0.41. 0.41. That's under a Feel Good First Cocktail and a shot.
Where do we think this movie hits on our list of movies that we've reviewed here?
I'm going to say 16.
Oh, I was going to say 17, Ed. Gosh darn it, 17.
Well, I'll just say 18 because then I can get everything above that.
Jeremiah, let it be 17. I need
Jeremiah.
to win this one.
You guys all went over it.
It's actually 12.
12.
It is now number 9 in our top 10
9.
of our list. Number
9.
9.
What is better than Mrs. Doubtfire?
What's better than Mrs. Doubtfire is Heat, 1995, The Godfather, Jurassic Park, Field of Dreams, Maverick, Top Gun, The Prestige, Raiders of the Lost Ark, Oppenheimer, Empire Strikes Back in our top 0 movies, Back to the Future, E.T., Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, and Saving Private Ryan.
Okay, and what is worse than Mrs. Doubtfire?
Terminator 2, Judgment Day, Avengers, Infinity Wars, Frankenstein,
Definitely.
Perks of Being a Wildflower, The Dark Knight, When Harry Met Sally, Sound of
Sean,
Music.
please say it.
Other than Sound of Music, I think that it's going to be.
Other than Dark Knight.
Dark Knight.
Well, Dark Knight. If you look at Dark Knight as a film, cinematographically as a film, it's better than Miss Doubtfire. But if you look at what Mrs. Doubtfire is in the
Emotional
genre,
level.
in the performances, it's very difficult to. It's apples and oranges,
Here.
so you can't really.
Same with Sound of Music, okay? Sound of Music's where it's supposed to be at.
No, Sound of Music was
Yes, it
butchered
is.
by some asshole.
It's a 0,
I don't
man.
think so.
I can't rate that one.
It's
Fucking
not.
West.
I'm not.
How many
apologizing.
assholes do we have on this podcast anyhow?
Have we done that movie yet?
No, we should be doing that movie. We should
Oh,
both
we gotta
be
do
doing
that
movie.
movie. We gotta-
All right, so we want to give some shout outs to areas where we have listeners. Today, we want to reach out and personally thank these 4 locations. This one, Prosper, Texas.
Texas.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Texas. Prosper, Texas.
Live long, prosper.
This one sounds fun. Winter Haven, Florida. Winter Haven, Florida. That sounds like a fun
right.
place to go to.
Winter in
Awesome,
Florida?
dude.
Hurricane, West Virginia. That's the location. They listen to The Rock. I really appreciate that.
Oh,
You know what?
Episode
Classic.
105.
Listeners, appreciate it, yo.
For this season, we really want to give some listener participation. So please give us a DM, drop us a DM on Instagram, where Jeremiah works tirelessly to post media for our podcast to promote the Gentleman Weeklies, the Last Calls, and our everyday episodes. Thank you so much for listening, and leave comments on our YouTube channel as well. Hit that bell and subscribe.
Also, please make sure to leave a 5-star review wherever you are listening. You can find our new episodes on Season 6 on video and our previous episodes from Season 1 through 5 with audio only. Thank you, listeners. Much love.
Absolutely. We are really excited to bring you guys all a combination of new films in theaters, classic movies like Mrs. Doubtfire, and some groundbreaking television shows like the final season of Stranger Things and Season 2 of Wednesday.
Please make sure to check out our Instagram page at the Gentleman Podcast. The dot means a lot. That's at the Gentleman Podcast, where you can also get more details about upcoming episodes.
And as we close in on the end of Season 6, we really want to appreciate everyone who's helped us grow this year. It's been a fantastic year for growth for our podcast, and we ask you reach out to anyone that you know. One person means everything. Spreading it one by one, word of mouth. We've seen our podcast, triple in size, and we really appreciate and owe that to you, the listeners. So,
We're looking forward
thank
to
you
it.
all for listening, and we're going to just say cheers. So we'll see you next week. Thank you. Cheers.
Bye-bye.